Want to start a podcast, or are you already a podcast host? What would you say if I told you that you can get paid up to $31 per guest you interview, and I can help you book those guests? If you want to start making more money with your podcast right now and interview great guests who your listeners will love, it's not too good to be true. It's Podmatch. If you use my Podmatch link in the show notes right now, Podmatch will pay you up to $31 per interview. Yes, up to $31 per interview. I did not stutter. If you want to make more money from your podcast while expanding your reach and getting more listeners, simply click our Podmatch link in the show notes right now to check out this really cool opportunity. Welcome back to the Podgasm Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Fleming, and today I want to talk to you about how to use these catchy podcast episode titles to get more listeners. These are episode title frameworks. These are going to be plug and play. You can take some words out and insert your own words, and these headline structures, these title structures are proven to work and get attention. So this is going to make your job really easy because so many people struggle, so many podcasters struggle because they know their content, but they're not copywriters like me. They don't know how to write words that compel people and grab attention and get them to do something. So knowing how to write podcast episode titles that will grow your show is extremely important because you can have the best information that your people, your listeners need. But if you can't grab their attention and get them to click on the episode, they'll never get that information from you. And therefore, you're not helping them very much. So it is our obligation as podcasters to know how to create great titles that will grab attention and get people to click and listen. And that's why about once a week, I'm finding I'm doing these episodes where I'm highlighting these episode title structures and examples so that you have this huge ammo supply of words that you can always go back to as you listen to these episodes. And you can plug in your information to these titles and these headline structures so that your show will grow and help more people as well. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you go grab the free Speak Your Listener's Language PDF. Again, it's a simple 3-page PDF that's going to show you 7 super simple keys to crafting a powerful brand message for your podcast that'll make your podcast more appealing to more of the right people so your show will grow. That's the name of the game right there. If you don't know it already, that's exactly what you have to be able to do. So go grab it right now. It's totally free. Just click the link in the show notes that says Speak Your Listener's Language. Okay, so the first example of how to write a good title for your podcast episodes is actually, I believe it was the previous episode to this one. I named it How to Name Your Podcast So More People Will Listen. How to name your podcast so more people will listen. Well, who is my audience? Podcasters, my fellow podcasters, you listening to this. How to name your podcast so more people will listen. How to blank do something that they need to do or have to be able to do. How to blank so that what? So that blank. That second blank right there is an outcome that your ideal listeners want. So it's how to blank do something so that they can blank get some sort of desired outcome. In my case, with that show title, it was how to name your podcast so more people will listen. In other words, I'm going to teach you how to name this thing in a way that's going to get more attention and more people will listen, because if more people listen, what happens there? Your show grows, you monetize better, and you have more influence over people, things like that. So that's the first one. The second one, 3 deadly marketing mistakes podcasters make. 3 deadly marketing mistakes podcasters make. Now, this kind of grabs your attention because it has the word deadly in it. 3 deadly. All right. And what is it? 3 deadly blank that blank makes. So I talk about marketing mistakes because I'm a marketing and branding guy. I'm a copywriter. So 3 deadly blank mistakes, whatever kind of mistakes they make, and blank makes. So 3 deadly blank mistakes blankers make. 3 deadly marketing mistakes podcasters make. How can you apply this if you have, let's say, you podcast and you talk to realtors about how to sell more homes or something? You could say 3 deadly marketing mistakes realtors make. And let me ask you this really quick, fellow podcaster. Are you looking for an easy way to record your podcast episodes in world-class high quality, edit them in a flash, and make them live without all the technical headaches and confusion? If so, then you're in luck. Riverside FM is the premier podcast recording software that allows you to produce the same high-quality podcasts as other world-famous podcasters your listeners are already enjoying. Look, level up your podcast right now, even if you're brand new, you're not a techie, maybe you don't have a lot of time, so you can attract more listeners to your podcast consistently. This thing has AI software built into it that can cut clips from your podcast and do in 5 seconds what it would take you 5 hours to do, so you can share those to social media and get more exposure and grow your following. So look, simply click the Riverside FM link in the show notes to grow your podcast to the next level, starting right now. And the third kind of podcast episode title framework that we're going to cover today is this one. And this was on YouTube. It was funny. It popped up. I have no idea why. But it said, 3 girls a guy should never date. And the word never is in all caps. That's pretty cool. 3 girls a guy should never date. So think about this. 3 blank, a blank, should never blank do something with. So 3 blank, let's say you're, again, let's go with the realtor example. It's pretty simple. 3 clients new realtors should never work with. Well, if you're a new realtor and you listen to this podcast that helps you be a better realtor and sell more homes, and you see a title that says 3 clients new realtors should never work with. And here's the thing. This one qualifies. If I say new realtors, it's qualifying people who are realtors. They're just on the newer end of that spectrum. They're brand new to the industry. And so it's a little more specific for them. So if you have a podcast for new realtors, for example, that would be better. So think about these. Think about these headline structures and plug in your information. So the first example was how to name your podcast so more people will listen. How to blank do something so more people will blank, insert desired outcome. Second was 3 deadly marketing mistakes podcasters make. And then the third, 3 girls a guy should never date. Look at these headlines, write these down, and just pull out the 1 or 2 elements, the who and the outcome, and then replace it with your who and the outcome you can help them get. And watch how this becomes something that's incredible and actually fun to write. If you know another podcaster this episode can help, please share it with them. It only takes about 3 seconds. Just click that share button, and it'll help me to help them in the same way that I'm trying to help you today. Do you struggle to write compelling and effective brand messaging that gets your podcast noticed? Do you want more people to listen to your podcast, but you struggle to talk about it in a way that grabs their attention and keeps it? If your podcast marketing messaging is not up to par, you are losing listeners. But maybe you don't know anything about copywriting and writing marketing messaging and such. Fortunately for you, I've been doing it for over 17 years. Do you want me to write your podcast marketing messaging for you in a clear, powerful, and compelling way that grabs your ideal listener's attention and makes them want to listen to your podcast over and over again? Each month I take on a small, limited number of clients and rewrite their podcast marketing messaging for them. Yes, I do all the hard work for you, and you just get to enjoy the benefits of it without any of the headaches when I'm done. If you want me to craft clear, distinct, and compelling marketing messaging that grows your podcast for you so you can attract more listeners consistently, send me an email right now at podgasmshow@gmail.com. There's a link in the show notes. And put the word consult in the subject line to check my availability.